All right, so I am well within range. I will go ahead and do my rising cut. My sword is pointing down and away. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You never roll that good.
I never roll that good. 7. Tim, what do you have on your defense?
Listen, I have got
5.
a cunning parry for 5.
5 cunning parry. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hold on, I have edge.
Oh yeah. Nope.
I still have edge.
Spend it all.
No.
Spend it all.
Hey guys, I'm Tim.
And I'm Bob.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and today we are doing a preview for Edge Quest from Clay Castle Games. So they did send us this prototype, and I was excited. I saw some pictures about this like on social media and stuff, and then when they reached out, I was like, yes, please. Can we please? I want to play it. So Edge Quest, we are entering the arena and we are dueling. And the way that works is we each are going to have one of these characters with magnetic feet as they stick to the board, which is so freaking cool. Mm-hmm. You're going to choose whether your swordsman is right or left-handed, because then you can change what hand the sword's in, stuff like that, right? Which is awesome. Then we've each got like a large deck of cards, which I believe, I have not checked, but I believe that we have the same cards, but they are I don't want to say two-sided, but they got two actions.
Yeah. Like
two options,
like reversible.
Two actions. And then you will have some two-sided ones that are always available to you.
Which basically have 4 sides or 4 actions.
Right.
Basically.
Right. And what we're doing in here is you could pick whatever victory condition you want, right? So we just did like a couple of hits to the body.
To the pain.
To the pain. Oh, it was painful too. Some are just to like the torso, right? Some are to any part of the body. Anyways, you pick your victory condition and then you're going to just kind of go. And I'll walk through a couple of steps and I'll pass it over to Bob. But like basically what you're going to do is you're going to draw your hand up. You can discard plenty, and then you're gonna hold 10 cards in your hand. Then we're gonna go to the outwit phase, and then the person who's ranked lowest, which at the beginning of the game is just determined by a die roll, like we'll roll, and the person who gets the most icons wins or whatever, right? But then you can choose to discard 2 cards from your hand to gain 2 edge. Discard a card from your hand to gain 2 edge. If then the next player can also choose to discard,
right?
And if they don't,
they turn their token back in.
They turn their
Which
token
is essentially
in,
a pass.
and then they're done. Where the other player can then continue to discard to gain edge. Then the player with the most edge is going to choose where they go in the ranking.
In the turn order,
now,
basically.
What we have here is for 2 players, so basically it's either your first or second. But then we did have 1 through 4 here. I guess you could try to like mind game it and be like,
I'll go 3. You want to go before or after?
Right. But anyways, and then you are going to get to maneuver. So the person who's going last gets to maneuver first. And you're basically going to take this maneuver action twice. And they give you these amazing tools here. So you've got your back foot, which is your weak foot, and your strong foot. And you can maneuver. A move is either a step or a gather. So a step is 1 foot moves, the other foot stays stationary, and you've got to stay within your range here, right? So I could step like that, and then to gather would be to then bring these 2 feet together to touching. And now my distance will be measured with basically the back of that, because that's as far back as I go, right? So if I was to step from there, I move forward.
All up in my grill.
All up in the grill. And then the last thing you can do is change your position, because that's a super important thing here. Because you're going to have point toward and point away. So here's away because it is not facing my opponent. And then if I had it towards, it could be like this, and that would be like middle, right toward, right? Because it's in front of me. So there's all these different kinds of positions. That's going to be important when we get to the battle phase. Bob, why don't you walk us through a little bit of the battle phase?
Sure. So in the battle phase, whoever has the lowers, like first in rank order, is going to choose a card to play. The card normally at the beginning you'll have no cards in your little profile on your character board here. But let's say you have a card there. The card you play has to match an icon at the top, and you're also going to have to make sure that you qualify for the position. So if I were to play a card like this, you would see that. And I was starting like this. Tim's been fiddling with my character.
I have been.
'Cause I had my sword down and low. So you can see here that I do have these circles that match, and my sword was pointed down and away. And it says here with the sword down, that means my sword is facing down and away. Otherwise, the sword would be facing up, which means I would be facing towards my opponent. But down and away, and then I'm going to basically make my attack. So I would check my range by going to my shoulder and making sure that Tim's body is well in range there.
Bummer.
And then I would get to roll my dice. But then Tim, seeing that he is being attacked, would then have the option to play a defense card. And then I would roll my dice. I could spend edge to do re-rolls. Also, if he was unguarded, I would get a free attack, like re-roll. If he was guarded, he would get a free attack defensive re-roll. And then depending on the result, my sword will end up in certain positions according to the next grid down.
Right.
And then he would either take his hit or miss or whatever his defense resolves. And then one of the neat things, it kind of has like a counter thing. So after this resolves and this card slides out and you put the token on the next card and it slides over, whoever kind of like won that little battle, if they have a gold card in the hand, they can instantly like play that, and so basically almost like taking the initiative away, like kind of an ordeal, and do a special thing. But then otherwise, you would kind of go to an assessment phase where you would turn your token back in. You would determine who has the most edge, and then as long as there is a attack card still going, you're still in the fight. But if like it's gray cards only or defensive cards only, then you're basically like have backed off. You would get rid of all the edge you have, and you're kind of like, then you go into the reset, which is like the transition phase, and you kind of restart from the top again.
Yeah.
And start the round again. Through. Yeah.
And I think what's wild is when we played, we only went through that one time. We had basically
start one and then one more time after that.
Like, so we just had like literally like two furious interactions.
And by the end of that, I had hit you twice, just for the record.
Poop. Poopy.
But yes.
And that's basically the game, right? You're going to play until you hit your victory condition. But there's all kinds of things in here. The edge is really important because it's going to give you re-rolls on your dice.
Yep.
But it's also going to let you pick
determine
initiative.
Yeah, if you want to, go on the like place first or place second.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it also, is sort of like that tiebreaker as far as like who gets to go first. And there's just so many cool things.
Yeah, and there's some really neat like tactics cards, like a repo. So you play that card, and then it flips both of your cards, and then all of a sudden now you're doing two more extra actions because you're like blocking, but then you're moving and attacking after that.
Yes.
And it's really
there's
really
some,
neat
and
combos.
So there's a little bit of like program movement in there, right? You're planning ahead. You know, like okay, I just need these to line up because I want to get this card out on the table.
Yep.
You've got to plan ahead so that your sword's in the right position, so that you can either defend or attack on your next turn.
Yeah, to make sure it's in the right spot. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on in this game. I will say that like for us to learn, like I had read the rules and Bob had read the rules, but like we really just kind of got it on the table and just started
moving them around and like, okay, now we move this guy over.
With it a little bit. And so if you're patient with that process, I think, and I think that this will be worth the effort,
right?
Because it's going to take a little bit to learn. Because also this game was so. I mean, we've played thousands of games. This game is so unlike anything.
Yeah, it's very unique.
Played, right?
And checking the right, because at first we were like swinging, but we were not like close enough, so we kept like whipping.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm taking a step forward, getting in there.
But then once we got like close, it
was on.
Cling, clang, cling, and it was just like in my brain, like in my mind, I'm just thinking about like all the sounds, right, and on how these actions resolve. Because literally, like the card tells you start down here, and then when you finish, you're going to be up here, and it actually is like representative of the
type of attack you're doing
that you're doing there, which is really cool, like and thematic. So it was. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here. We just have like digital versions of the rulebook. I think it would have been easier if we had like a physical copy.
Sure, yeah.
Just so we could like keep the page open of like because they do a nice job of like telling you what the positions are, right? If you're middle left, point away, because that's a lot, right?
Yeah, because when it was very abstract, because he sent me the rule book and I'm reading it, and I'm like, okay, at the beginning it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm reading, okay, you do this, no problem. And then you get down and it's like, okay, this is your arc here, your sword here. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. But once you get it on the table and you're looking at it, it starts to make way more sense.
And this really does, again, it feels intimidating at first, but then it kind of becomes intuitive.
Right.
I think so. I thought, I kind of felt that way. And on these player boards, now again, this is a prototype, so I don't know what's going to carry over. But the way that they have all of this broken down is awesome.
Yep.
This really helped.
Yes.
And I believe sped up our process a lot, right? Because even though I had the rule book on my phone and you had it on iPad and stuff, and we're like going back and forth and checking out like some of those minutia and those things.
Having that basic breakdown
having this
there.
breakdown right there, it's really solid. And again, once you have a grasp of,
how it flows,
of how it's supposed to flow, this all makes perfect sense. Because there's this really interesting thing, because when you play the card after it's resolved and it's like to your next time, that card's going to slide over and then your next card's going to come down, right? And then like Bob was saying, it's got to line up with what you want to do next. And then that card gets discarded.
Right.
And now you're...
Which makes sense, because in a fight, certain, attacks and techniques will flow into other attacks and detect, and defenses and things like that. So if you're way up here out of position, well, you can't really do a jab because you're not really in the right position for it. So
yeah, you're not thrusting when you're up
way
like
back like this, and the sword, and you're pointing away from somebody. Yeah.
And so, again, clearly this was designed by somebody that loves fencing.
Yeah.
Because I keep calling it like a fencing simulator.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, incredibly unique. Again, I hope that this stays like it is, because the magnetic component, right,
which keeps them standing up, because otherwise they would fall over and it'd be frustrating.
Yeah, you're not really worried about balancing the guys, right?
Tim even like matrixed out of the way one time. He's like, I dodged, and he like leaned his guy way back out of the way.
Yeah, because the card said like you don't like physically do it,
right,
but the card does say you move without moving your feet.
Yeah.
So like when he swung it, it's like, well, you went at me, but you missed. So he kind of or he could have shifted to the side. There's all kinds of different things, and with these articulating figures, it's just kind of fun to play with them.
I kind of hope somebody does like a little stop animation of those guys like fighting and stuff. Like that would be really cool.
There's so much stuff you could do with this. But
I wish I had that talent.
I know, and patience,
and patience, and time.
All of those things.
Yeah.
I guess instead, just play Edge Quest.
There you
go. So this will be coming to, I believe, Kickstarter soon.
Okay.
It's not out yet as far as us making the video, but yeah, that's basically how you play and what to expect. And feel free to ask us any questions either on the video or in the Discord. We didn't get paid for this, but we did ask for a copy of the game if it funds.
Yeah.
Like, please, so back this so we can play it.
So I can stab Tim some more.
Yeah, he does like that. You were too good at it.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous.
Well, it's the first time I've actually stabbed you in the front, because usually it's more in the back.
I've had my arm around in the back this time. I was not expecting. Well, you even did a good job of sort of like maneuvering to get over to like.
I kept doing that, to get in those angles.
I started
and
getting
get close
nervous.
to it. Yeah, you're like, hey, stop that.
Because we started like lined up.
Square, lined up.
Like this.
Like a normal fight.
By the end of the match, it really was like that. And that was one of the things they even said in the rule book is there's no hexes. Right. Because they want this to feel like
free flowing and
fluid.
Moving. Yeah.
And it really is.
It does feel like that way.
It really is.
These things are really neat.
So you I think you add that level of complexity to sort of get that depth and thematic, vibe and feel, and it's a really good trade-off.
Yep.
But yeah, this is Edge Quest. So tons of cards, some pretty easy basic tokens, that you're keeping track of, and even if these dudes just stay like this, I don't care.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like the table presence, can you imagine being at a con with this and people being like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Yeah. But man, Edge Quest. I thought this was very cool, very unique.
They could do like sticker sheets to put little things on there too.
Yeah,
neat,
you could do the old school like battle damaged He-Man. So like you hit it and then it
flips over
and you got like a dent.
That's asking a lot.
Yeah, that's too much. But anyways, this is Edge Quest. You got anything else to add before we sign off?
Nope, I don't think so.
Right on. Yeah, I can't wait. The prototype looked amazing, so I'm really looking forward to what the final product will look like. Like I said, though, any questions, drop us a line. For the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.